And good evening to all my fellow FTFLers. It is I, Brett Sieber, the owner of the Hulkamaniacs, who, mind you, are 1-0 and sit atop the standings. I don't quite remember the last time I started a season 1-0, but we'll get to that in just a little bit. I mean, we are right back into this. I mean, it's just right back in games. There was close games, there were blowouts, and of course, with the start of the fantasy football season comes the beginning of all of the rules discussion. Boy, I tell you what, the FTFL, at some point in time, maybe it's just going to behoove us. That's right, word of the day, behoove. Look it up, D-Sim, I know you're confused. Behoove us to maybe go ahead and change the name so it reflects a little bit better the rule controversy we continue to find ourselves in. The returning only three-time league champ, Mana comes out the gates with a blistering score this week. But wait! David Johnson's going to miss 2 to 3 months. How will that affect his team? And, oh my goodness, after last week, 2 of the predictions that the Magic 8 Ball made have already come to pass. What on earth will the Magic 8 Ball have in store for us this week? We're going to find out, and we're going to get started. Let's head to the games. Here we go. First game was the Brother Bowl. Hulkamaniacs coming in against the old Bazinga. Now, funny thing, 303 days ago, I lost my last game in the FTFL. And who was that to? None other than Team Bazinga himself. Well, that loss has been avenged, and the winning streak marches on to who knows where. All the way through the season? I guess we're just going to have to find out. Now, the final score was 81 to 63, but it probably wasn't even that close. I mean, on my team, everyone except AP contributed this week. Rogers had 12. Gano had 13. The Baltimore defense, maybe the single greatest waiver wire pickup of all time, threw down 24 points. Besides that, it wasn't a lot of flash, just a lot of substance. If your team Bazinga, Amari Cooper, 12.5 points. Jordan Howard, 11.5. But boy, oh boy, is Tariq Cohen going to actually start to eat into that production. Time will tell. Marcus Mariota had 10. And Le'Veon Bell, some consider to be the greatest running back in all of fantasy football, but he missed the preseason, and boy, you could tell it, because that dude had 3.5 points, and it stung. And I'll tell you what else stings. Losing to me, that's right. Now, here is something absolutely amazing. I had a lot to say about this game, but we have got someone else that's got something that they want to say about this game, and we're going to go to that person right now. That's right, it's Hulk Hogan, brother, here to speak on behalf of Brett Sieber, who currently is running wild all over the FTFL. For 303 days, he's been on top of the mountain, brother. Now, he may not have won the championship last year, but this year, dude, is an entirely different animal. He's going to take all of the players on his team, and he's going to take the power of millions upon millions of Hulkamaniacs running wild across the globe, brother, and he's going to take on each and every one of you, and each and every one of you is going to fall at the hands of the Hulkamaniacs. So what you going to do when Hulk Hogan, Brett Sieber, and the Hulkamaniacs run wild on you? What was that? I mean, I know I told you last week it was a brand new show, and we were doing things and no longer no budget, just a teeny tiny low budget. I mean, a new introduction, sure. New filming equipment, absolutely. Celebrity, A-list celebrity icons, American treasures, and national icon, Hulk Hogan. Woo! Let me tell you what, if that's what's happening in week 2, just think of what we have in store going forward on to the next game between Team Linkowitz and the Pack Attack. We talked a lot about the draft, how Team Linkowitz's team didn't come out of it looking very strong, and that is definitely still the case. Final score, 76 for Eric, 43.5 for John. Here's the big issue. 4 players combined for 0 points. They were Latavius Murray, Vernon Davis, and the Houston defense, who got pushed around by the Jacksonville Jaguars. What? Now, OBJ had a 0-2, and that's a little bit of controversy, which I guess we'll get to a little bit later. If you throw in Eric Decker, that group of 5 balloons all the way up to 1.5 points. Todd Gurley had 14.5. That looked like the rookie season magic, but it just really wasn't enough. Even Gillislee, who was on the bench with 20 points, wouldn't have done anything as far as helping John get over the hump. For the Pack Attack, 4 players in double digits. Gronk, you survived Gronk only having 3. Kenny Golladay on your bench, 22 points. Something tells me he was going to be a rookie keeper, and boy, what a rookie keeper he might turn out to be. It wasn't a lot this week, but it was enough to beat John. Now, about John and the whole full lineup rules controversy, there was a hurricane. I'm not entirely sure how you prepare for that fantasy football-wise, not knowing how that's going to affect your lineup. And a lot of his players were on that hurricane bye. John's argument was solid. Decent weighed in. I think it's a non-issue. But again, it's the rules, and boy, we can't seem to get away from those. Speaking of the rules and commissioners, onwards. Next up, the people of Middle Spunk Creek, Adam Swartz's newest rendition of the same old, took on the three-time league champ Manamana and got whooped. Manamana 92.5. People of Middle Spunk Creek 69.5. And just guess what? There was a conversation I had earlier today with a local high school teacher about the people of Middle Spunk Creek. I've got to wonder, where is Middle Spunk Creek? What is this place like? Next week, we tap into that and we get a whole lesson on the people of Middle Spunk Creek. Really not the greatest fantasy football players, as we can see. 4 of them are under 5. David Carr at 16 and LaShawn McCoy 12.5. But there was just nothing else there and really no help to speak of on the bench. If you're Manamana, you got to feel pretty good about that score. Of course, the Antonio Brown, if you have Antonio Brown, you should be in most of your game. The rookie Leonard Fournette, 18.5. That was pretty, actually, maybe it says 15.5. Pretty solid score for him. 18 for Cam Newton. David Johnson had 9, but David Johnson isn't going to get any more points over the next possibly 9 weeks. Now, you can go on about the waiver wire. You could talk about, receivers playing. Your 4 running backs on your bench combined for a big, fat 0. You're going to get problems, brother. You're going to have to find those points somewhere. Yeah, the highest scoring team this week, but that ain't no guarantee that that's what's going to happen next week. All right, before we get to the last 2 games, it is that time. It is time for the world-famous Magic 8 Ball. Now, last week we threw out 3 predictions. The rules prediction has come to pass. I guess that was a bit of a softball. Matt, after 33 days, you found the website. You did it. And by the way, a little bit more on Matt and his team, and I think the monster that one Sid Hagen might have created. Now, of course, the last prediction last week for the Magic 8 Ball was about Eric and the DSUM award. That one's going to have to wait. I will keep you updated on just how accurate this little beauty can be. Question number 1 is focused directly on what we just talked about, Markser and the loss of David Johnson. Is Markser's team hosed without David Johnson? Magic 8 Ball, share with us your wisdom, and it says without a doubt. Magic 8 Ball don't lie, dude. Na 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 na. No, maybe that's too soon. All right, question number 2 for the world famous Magic 8 Ball. After 9 wins in a row, dating all the way back to 303 days ago for the Hulkamaniacs, are they legit title contenders at this current moment in time? Magic 8 Ball, drop your knowledge on us, please. And it says, concentrate and ask again. It wasn't a no, so I'll take it. All right, 3rd and final question this week. Will Andrew Luck play this week? Now, I said last week, decent, Andrew Luck is the only keeper that wasn't ready for week 1. Will he play this week? You can use the help. Your quarterback play was sketchy. Andrew Luck would definitely be a boost for your team in the right direction. Magic 8 Ball, what do you say about Andrew Luck in playing this week? It says, outlook good. Outlook good. All right. That is it for the Magic 8 Ball. We're going to have to check back in, I guess, next week to see how it did. Moving onward, speaking of Ryan DSUM, his team was up against Cramerica, and they got smushed. 92.5 for Cramerica, 68.5 for Ryan DSUM. Not enough T&B to go around to save you on that one. And let's be honest, this game was all about the brand new moniker that's going to be running wild all across the league, the Kareem Akazi. Kareem, the rookie hunt, who wasn't even going to start until Ware went down with an injury and maybe start beating people into submission. 40.5 points for Kareem Hunt. And throw in Tyreek Hill's 21.5. 61.5, the 92.5 points came from 2 guys. He had 5 people under 5 points. But it didn't matter, because one of those people that was above was Kareem Hunt. Now, on the flip side, get this. DSUM only had 1 person under 5. On paper, that shouldn't equate to a loss, but again, the Kareem Akazi. It wasn't the Breeze Buzzsaw this time. No. It was the brand new, newly christened Kareem Akazi who tagged you for 40.5. Jordy Nelson hit 13.5. And Carson Palmer had 10. Those were the only two that you had in double digits. And if Carson Palmer is leading the way for you going forward, I traded you Dak Prescott, not for you to sit him on the bench, but to try to help out your situation with Andrew Luck, who, by the way, might be coming back if the Magic 8 Ball holds. Onwards to the final game of the week, and this is the one, to me, well, it was the closest, and that one is just, that's obvious. But this is the one, in particular, with Matt's team, that I think is the most foreboding going forward. 92.5 points, just like Markster, tied him for the league high. But boy, oh boy, it could have been so much bigger. Beat Salty at 85.5, the closest game of the week. The 7-point differential, definitely the tightest. Matthew Stafford, who was doing nothing until late through the fourth quarter, exploded and all of a sudden ended up with 32 points, which is better than the three-headed monster of Ezekiel Elliott, Devonta Freeman, and DeMarco Murray, who put together 24.5. That's what concerns me. 24.5 points for those three guys, I'm guessing is going to be a low week going forward. And if Ezekiel Elliott is going to play all season now, Sid Hagen, what have you done? What have you done? Those three running backs playing week in and week out are going to be very, very difficult to beat in this league. As much as it pains me to say, yes, Matt, you might be onto something with regards to success here in the FTFL. For the Radioactive Monkeys, you had chances all over the place. Phillip Rivers on the bench, 24. Matt Ryan started, 16. 8 points, you lost by 7. There was your victory. Oh, wait, what'd you say? Hunter Henry had 0 points and Colby Fleener on the bench had 10.5. You lost by 7. There's your victory. Now, I'm not going to fault you for not starting Phillip Rivers. Matt Ryan's a good quarterback. Hunter Henry over Colby Fleener. I've dealt enough with Colby Fleener to know that I don't want any part of that. And so I don't necessarily blame you there either. Although, in the end, it did cost you a victory twice. That's it for the games. We're going to quick run down now the stud of the week. That was an absolute no-brainer. A monkey with 3 fingers, 1 eye, and no sense of direction whatsoever could have pointed to a list of random players and picked out Kareem Hunt's 40.5 points. That one was a foregone conclusion. The dud of the week, I'm going to go Hunter Henry. I like to pick the dud of the week as someone who could have had an impact and swayed a game one way or the other. Big fat 0. You lost by 7. You could have been helped out by that. DSM Award this week probably goes to John, I guess. At least, sorry, not DSM Award. DSM Award update. Left Gillislee on the bench, 20 points. He drafted Gillislee pretty high. Wasn't going to make a difference one way or the other. John started OBJ. We've been through that. We kind of know why that happened. Not a big deal. Salty, maybe, I guess, because he messed this up. And if he misses the playoffs by 1 game, we can look back to this moment and say, yep, this is maybe where things started to go south. As we look forward to week 2, it will be the Hulkamaniacs at 1-0 taking on Ryan Deesum, whose T&B is 0-1. Coming into that game. Bazinga at an 0-1 start, taking on the people of Middle Spunk Creek, who we will learn more about next week. Also 0-1, someone looking to get off the schneid. Manad 1-0, taking on Team Linkowitz, 0-1. Hopefully a better performance for Team Linkowitz. The Radioactive Monkeys at 0-1 will be taking on Creamerica at 1-0, and probably the game of the week, at least on paper, is the Architect versus Pack Attack, both coming in at 1-0. We'll see how that goes. There's only a few games left in the season. Go Twins. I'm more excited now than I ever have been because I would love to see the front office have to explain away what they did at the trade deadline and how this team still made it back into contention. Thanks for joining me this week. Appreciate it. Hope you had a great time. We'll catch you all next week when we get back into this. I am Brett Sieber. I am saying goodbye. FTFL Weekly Update. That's a wrap.